All right, what do you want to watch? Easy A?
I already saw it.
Spotlight.
I already watched that too.
Powder.
I already saw that.
You've watched everything.
Nobody watches everything.
All right. This movie, hands down, showcases what I've been saying a long time ago. Just because it sounds cool doesn't mean incest is cool. All right.
Yeah, I hate seeing like the part 2 of what happens with all the porn I watch.
Yeah, we're like everyone's all like, "Oh, it's so fun! It's all this
Yeah.
cool stuff. You're my mom. You're my
Well,
stepson."
apparently not.
No, it's not.
Oh,
There's leads
Dad,
to
I got stuck in the couch. Oh, let me help you get out. And then this happens.
It leads to you getting shot in fucking Chinatown.
Woo! Let me tell you, about time a rapist in the 70s made a good movie because I was getting real sick. I was getting real sick of these crappy rapist-made movies in the 70s. Like I'm
These
glad
half-ass rapists.
Yeah.
they're whole-ass rapists, half-ass directors.
Oh my god, that is so good. That's a documentary we got to make about these guys.
Oh, hello everybody. Welcome
What's
back
up?
to Nobody Watches Everything. Fuck. I'm Clayton. This is Rick. And
Rick Matthews. Bye.
the very same.
The one and only.
And if you couldn't tell, but our
Except for my dad. My
yeah.
dad's also Rick Matthews.
My dad is also Rick Matthews.
You know what? It's true. It's true.
But if you couldn't tell by our discussion of incest and shitty director people, we're talking about, what is this? When the year did this come out?
1974.
The 1974 film Chinatown. It's so.
You want to get right into Michael, and then we'll just fucking cannonball into this bitch.
Hell yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Like, that's I'm about to cut it off right now for that, but I like when we have a movie where we're like, no bullshit. Let's just get to Michael.
We didn't even talk. Clayton and I have not spoken about this movie. We don't know how each other feels about the movie. So what you guys are gonna get is fucking raw.
Yeah, raw and uncut, except for
baby, we like it raw.
That is a good ODB. Ooh,
Thank you.
baby, I like it raw. Yeah.
What a great song that is.
Such a good song. R.I.P. ODB.
R.I.P. ODB.
But yeah, all right, Michael. We're gonna let you say the stuff that you say, and then
When Los Angeles private eye Jake Giddies is hired by Evelyn Mulray to investigate her husband's activities, he believes it's a routine infidelity case. Jake's investigation soon becomes anything but routine when he meets the real Mrs. Mulray and realizes he was hired by an imposter. Mr. Mulray's sudden death sets Giddies on a tangled trail of corruption, deceit, and sinister family secrets. As it seems, no one is completely innocent. Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway star in this Roman Polanski film, Chinatown.
all right.
Let's get down to business.
You answer first.
I'll be fucking 100% honest. Once again, like last week, we're watching a film that is said to be great, made by a director that is fucking has some nefarious things about him.
Right.
Okay, so again, I went into this movie the same as last movie with a complete open mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to worry about the allegations for the sake of watching this movie.
Right.
Watched Annie Hall, hated it.
Right.
Didn't have anything to do with him, but I hated it. Watched Chinatown. Clayton, I fucking love this movie. I can't believe I never saw it before. I'm mad at the last 40 years of my life that I haven't watched this movie. I should have watched it when I was 3. I loved it. Loved it.
Well, guess what? You ready for this?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think
All
it's
right.
great.
Yeah. No, yeah. It was so fucking cool the way they did it. Like people that are listening right now, we're going to get into the fucking shittiness of Roman Polanski at some point, for sure.
We have to.
But like for the sake of like talking about the movie first, he did such a good job of capturing a 1930s and 1940s fucking noir movie. Like he just like the way the fucking credits were rolling, the way the fucking intro, dude, it was so good. It was done so well.
It was so like there's such a great attention to detail to this movie, and it's so like properly made for it. And then it's funny because like the first half of it is very strictly like that kind of movie made that time period. And then once it gets into the shit, that's when it becomes a 70s movie.
It does shift gears, but like not a hard shift. It's got a good clutch. It's a very fucking subtle shift.
It's a subtle thing, exact, because it's like
it happens with the titties. The titties is where it shifts.
I don't think it's with the titties.
It is. As soon as you see Faye Dunaway's titties, that's the same as Dorothy Gale going from black and white to color. It's the same shit. As soon as Faye Dunaway's nerps come out with those damn 70s slope titties that we've talked about before, as soon as they show up, it's just like I went to go, I don't know what happened there. I meant to go like a Wizard of Oz song, and I ended up in Aladdin.
Yeah. You're talking about those slopes. It's the sand dunes. It's all there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's like basically I was, I don't know. I'm an idiot. Anyway, it was a cool shift though. It was a cool the movie was cool.
I think the shift happens because like at the beginning of the movie, there isn't any cursing. And there are moments when he's like, he'll say something and then correct himself. And he still wasn't cursing when he corrects himself. And then there's a point when he starts actually cursing. Well, he'll say like shit, or he tells his like partner, shut the fuck up. And I was like, that's a subtle transition to being like from you making like where it was like an elegant, oh, this is that movie of the time before the Hays Code type of shit where, and then it becomes this like, oh, it's way more serious than this started, where it's like, oh, it's just the bad guys did this and this. And it's like, oh no, it's real. Like I think part of it is just like the transition from when Jack Nicholson's character gets his nose cut off almost.
That's the thing. You know what's funny? I told him like this is a movie I wasn't going to watch with my kid. You know what I mean? Because I knew like it had some like dark shit to it. So I told him that I had to go watch a movie for the podcast. He loves that I do this. So he's always like, oh, cool. What movie are you watching? And I told him Chinatown. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, do you know what Chinatown is? He's like, yeah, I watched a movie where he watched a YouTube video where a bunch of people reenacted cutting someone's nose off.
That's Corridor Digital. He's watching Corridor Digital. Like
apparently, yeah, because he knew that part of the movie. I was like, I don't even know that part of the fucking movie. It's like,
that's one of the most famous parts of the movie because it's such a incredible special effect. Like this movie isn't flashy in its like special effects or anything like that. It's very well made, but it's one of those things where the special effect of it is that like, so Jack Nicholson's character is dealing with the guy, Roman Polanski is playing the gangster, which is crazy, but it's like, so he takes a knife and he puts it in his nose, and it's so famous because it's like the knife is so like you can see it stretching his nose. Like it's one of those things where like a prop normally has like, because it has those like release levers, the timing of it, everything about that just made it look like he legit cut through his nose.
It looks fucking great.
Like because the squirt happens like right there. It's a shock. It's and that's what that Corridor Digital video is about, where they replicate that scene with Adam Savage from Mythbusters.
Okay.
and they like literally like using the exact same things that they had, and then it was like, okay, like how do you react to that kind of shit? And it was like, what's better, using a real knife or a CGI knife that you can control where the blood happens? And it's like, yeah, it's. But I've known about
I've always
that
been
scene.
a fan of practical effects. Like I've always been the practical effects, and just that they could do it then in '74, and just that, like you got something like that happens in a movie, and I love that, like because Jack Nicholson, like one man, you forget because he kind of became like a characterization of himself over the years,
Mhm.
but you forget how fucking raw cool Jack Nicholson was back in the fucking day. Like,
Yeah.
he was just like handsome but interesting, but not like textbook handsome, but like fucking like God, interesting as hell looking handsome.
He's the kind of guy, like when you look at him, he's odd looking, but he's not like, it's so funny. Like if Ted Bundy looked like him, I would understand it. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I don't get the Ted Bundy girls finding Ted Bundy. It's just fucking.
I know this is all out of it's out of the way, but yeah, and we're talking about like shitty people coming up. But yeah, like Ted Bundy never was a handsome looking dude.
No,
Jack
Nicholson, if he directed
Nicholson,
a movie, we'd watch it next. That's
I know. I can't wait to see his political drama. But yeah, he's like fucking Jack Nicholson is cool as shit. I also like seeing him in like a vulnerable role, because he's not normally vulnerable in a lot of his movies. He's never like a good guy, I feel like, in most of his movies.
And I don't think he was a good guy necessarily. I mean, he's still a private investigator, you know what I mean? He's a cop he's a cop that like couldn't be a cop anymore, and you never find out why, which I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never find out exactly what happened to make him not want to be a cop, but you know it had something to do with Chinatown.
Yeah, and he didn't really want to be back in China. Like some bad shit. Like he definitely killed like.
Crazy lack of Chinese people in this movie for it being called Chinatown.
There is definitely a lack of Chinese people. At one point, I thought there was a white person playing a Chinese person. There was just like, I think his Faye Dunaway's gardener, he just looked a little too, I was like, if that's a white man playing a Chinese person, I'm turning this off.
It wasn't. I thought it was a Mexican.
Like it's just
only because it was in like California.
But like California, I mean, like it has a high Chinese population,
super high Chinese population.
And,
but that's what I want to get back to the one thing just about the nose. Like I just loved that they like for the first half of the movie, you know, he's just this good looking dude and shit like that. But then for the rest of the movie, he's got this gigantic bandage on his nose, and you can't unsee it. You can't forget what happened to him. Like, you know what I mean? You can't, like in a lot of movies, like they'll have the guy take a beating. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But then he's fine. Like the next scene, he doesn't even have like a black eye anymore. Like the rest of this movie, he had a gigantic fucking bloody bandage on his nose. Like
and when he finally took it off, it's still this giant like scar.
It was gross. Like, it was fucked up.
I love that. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking that too. It's like, how do you sell this movie where it's like it's the kind of thing that would happen in a movie of that time period, where it would be something bad would happen and then they would just be good the next day. They would just be like, see, I got a little scratch, but I'm good, because they don't want to hide that actor's face. But they were like, no, it's fucking Jack. He's weird looking, but handsome. But it worked because he has such prominent eyes that you're looking at them. Like I noticed like his eyes so much in this movie because he's so like intense. And again, seeing his intensity as like the hero of the story is so different, because it's
100%.
Manic and it's scary and it's like weird, but he's also like, you gotta be honest with me, you gotta talk to me, you gotta tell me this shit.
He's like, I'm not a cop, like you have to tell me what's going on so I can help you.
Yeah. And so the premise of this movie, which I can't wait to get into this in more detail because I've learned a lot of interesting shit about this. So it takes place in like the early 40s in California, like Los Angeles.
1937.
Oh, shit. Yeah, even before the 40s. So 1937. And what's happening is that they're trying to buy up all this land to like make like different areas and stuff and making like become rich off of like areas and taking their water away from them so that it becomes not valuable. And I think that's like so crazy that that's a real thing that happened to California. And that's a real thing that's happening right now.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, where it's like Vegas and all these other places on the West Coast are losing water drastically so that people can make like resorts and shit. And it's like, this shit's been happening since the fucking 30s. And what's crazy about this movie, and this is just like a aside, but it also speaks to the whole thing, is that the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit was based off of a script for a sequel to this movie.
Really?
Yeah. So there is a sequel to this movie called The Two Jakes. Yeah, that came out in like the 90s, which or like late 80s, like 91 almost. Like, it's kind of crazy, but the script to Roger Rabbit was based off of a script for and it makes sense because it's like you're trying to kill a neighborhood to put the roads in, and it's like it's so crazy to think of a thriller series about municipal codes and shit like that. like
yeah, because it is kind of like a boring, like it's like not boring in like real life, but for a movie premise, you know what I mean? Like, land, real estate, but then and they have, honest to God, like the original, like the husband, the original, like the guy that gets killed, who he's supposed to be following around, who's like supposed to be cheating on his wife or whatever.
Right.
They have this dude. He doesn't really talk at all. He's the most boring looking motherfucker in the world. Like he's just this like boring ass dude. Like he wouldn't be cast now. He wouldn't be him now. It'd be like fucking, I don't know. In my head, it'd be like Larry Miller.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just put him in everything. I wrote a screenplay once about Larry Miller, and I was trying to get it out there. I want him to hear about me so I can pitch my idea to him.
I get that. He's got connections.
I got Larry Miller on the brain. But like he's just like this weird, like just old timey, dopey looking dude who's got the worst like dead face I've ever seen before.
Oh my God! When they pull him out, like part of me was like, is this a real actor in this, or is this like a dummy? Because his face is so fucking odd when they pull him out of that water.
It was like the Frighteners. Like it was like it was like this like
it was just so weird. I was like, what is happening? And his body's so limp. I'm like, is he like the fucking Weekends at Bernie's guy?
Oh, what happened to that guy?
I don't know. It'd be funny if he's dead, but not really dead.
Yeah, he's still in stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, it on paper this sounds like a non-interesting idea. It's like a private detective is trying to figure out a murder because of land rights, but when you watch it, how they handle it and how they get into this story and get into this mystery is so fascinating, because they're like, he figures this stuff out by like wild means, or he's like paying attention to something, or he's like, what's this?
He's good at his job.
He's great at his job. And one thing I wanted to bring up, because I love searching this out, especially because of how much money shit costs now and all this other stuff, is that I love looking up how much money was worth back then.
Yeah.
And so when he was describing his pay, holy shit, that pay is insane.
It's a lot of money. Yeah, like he was making six figures.
Like, so $35, he was doing $35 a day. $35 back then was $7.50. $35 was worth $7.50 back then. And then he was going to get $35 a day, plus she was going to pay him $5,000, which was $100,000 back then.
I mean, that sounds about right, though. Like, he invested everything into it. Like,
but
he was 100% in that. I don't know how much. I don't know how expensive private detectives are.
Because, look, even when we watch private detective shows now, or what have you, like, you watch, like, I remember when Jessica Jones was out and stuff, she wasn't getting paid $100,000 for a case. She was getting $10,000, which sounded reasonable. Like, that's the crazy thing about it, where it's like, 10 grand sounds reasonable now, and it's worth 10 grand now. They were getting 5 grand and was worth like neighborhoods. Like he was about to be paid enough money to buy a block. Cause like like $7,000 back then, like because her father, like the main character's father, who is like the big villain of this whole thing,
who's John Huston, does a great job, by the way.
Yes, and he's so good in this, and
he's just a great fucking actor, like just
those
old
Hustons.
School.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a funny thing about this is that Jack Nicholson had just started dating Angelica Houston when they when this movie started filming. So the one scene in the movie, like I guess Jack Nicholson had talked about, it was so awkward for him because that was like one of the first scenes he filmed with him when he was like, "Are you sleeping with my daughter?" and like, and that was the one time she came on set to visit him. So he was like, he said like he felt that the way he felt that, like that was real. That wasn't acting. That was just him being super fucking like tense and awkward in real life.
That's so funny.
Yeah, because in this movie, he plays like this well-known billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, well, millionaire then, billionaire now. And then so he's like stared him down. He's a big deal in the movie. He's a big deal in real life. And then he's saying, "Are you sleeping with my daughter?" And he is in the movie and he is in real life. But it's just like,
And that's so funny because when we were talking about the guy who plays, who's the murder victim, I was thinking if they made this movie now, he would be played by I forgot another Houston. He was the guy. Did you ever watch Boardwalk Empire?
Yes.
All right. So the dude who was missing the face,
that guy's amazing and everything.
He is like Angelica Houston's nephew.
Is he?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm not joking. So
he's so good in Fargo. He's in the last season of Fargo. He's so fucking good.
I gotta sit down and really watch it.
He plays this like detective with like really bad like OCD and shit like that. Like it's so good.
But and I was thinking, I'm like, he would be exactly the guy who would play that character, or like her husband right now, where he has like an unassuming look to himself, but you want like it's just like okay, like, and he can sell the pain of being like, people are going to die again, and I can't handle that. And there's just a lot of cool shit. Like, there's a part of this movie which I wasn't understanding at first. And then when I put it together, I was like, this is so fucking smart. There's he has Jake has a bunch of pocket watches, and he sets the pocket watches and he puts them behind the tires. Yeah. And it's like, that's how he knows when someone left.
Because like broke the watch at that time.
Yeah.
I'm fucking brilliant.
I'm like, God damn it, of course, because they don't have fucking internet or this kind of shit. It's like, you just have to do this. I'm like, I dig this movie because it's
so fucking cool. And this is like, I think about like Roman Polanski making this movie. Like, this is such a good fucking movie and it's done so well. Like, this movie was filmed less than 5 years after his pregnant wife was fucking murdered in one of the most vicious homicides in the history of this country.
Yeah.
Like, this is less than 5 years later.
Yeah,
from the Manson murders. Like,
that's insane. And movies took a while to make at that time. So it's like we'll get more into the movie.
We'll get into now it's time. This is a good time to
talk about
a sidetrack.
Roman. So one of the things that is interesting, and I think when we were talking about fucking Annie Hall a couple of weeks ago, Annie Hall is so autobiographical for Woody Allen movies are Woody Allen movies. Like, they're about Woody Allen. And the crazy thing about like Roman Polanski is that like none of him is in this movie. He's in the movie, but it's so much the movie itself that it makes it easy to remove the art from the artist type of thing because it's not him in many ways.
Yes, you don't have to look at him the entire time thinking about what a fucking garbage person he is.
And about his relationships and how he's like a fucking creep and all those other... Like, you don't have that like inkling. But you watch this. But also, it's like, I never even thought about the fact that it was like, yeah, he was involved in one of the most horrific crimes in American history.
Yeah, and he just wasn't home.
And he just wasn't home. And then he's also one of the most notorious creeps in where he's not allowed in America because he will be arrested. Like, it's this kind of thing where, like, which is wild that you're like, the statutes of limitations end after a certain time, but he's still like on you're not allowed to be
charges
back.
Are pending.
Exactly.
Charges were pressed back then.
Yeah, and he has never like had to sit with those. And it's like, when you hear what he did, holy shit.
It's
like,
not great.
It's horrifying. And
now, if you guys don't know a lot about, which you probably do if you're listening to our podcast, like you're like a movie person, you know what I mean? But, you know, in, what was it, 1977?
Yeah, so like 3 years after this?
Yeah, he was charged with, he was arrested and charged with drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And he pled guilty to like unlawful sex with a minor, and then he heard that the judge was going to reject it, and he just fucking bolted to Paris.
Yeah.
Like, and then a couple other chicks came out and said, like I'm a fucking scumbag. A couple other girls came out, and these other broads came out and started flapping their gums.
You know how they dames
are. You know
are.
how they do. They start jibber jabbering. No. So, like, remember in Animal House where, like, that girl was passed out and the dude had an angel and a devil on his shoulder? Fucking Polanski had no angel because she was murdered in 1969. Yeah. And instead he looked over and saw this passed out 13-year-old and said, well, time to get some pussy. Yeah. Like, and like there's like talk that like Jack Nicholson was there.
Yeah, he was like, it was his house or something.
Like it was Jack Nicholson's house.
It
was like in the hot tub.
And as I was talking about that, it also made me think, because even though Polanski didn't write this, Robert Towne wrote this movie, and one of the big twists of the movie involves incest and rape.
Ooh, yeah, it does.
And it's a real tough fucking thing.
And once you find that out, the movie's already like, that's like the roller coaster has already started. Like it's downward. Like this movie fucking all that happens. Like you find out this chick, because you don't know what to believe from her for a while. Because she's like, because one fucking Hollywood fucking sucks, because there's all these incredible actresses that get aged out. Like Hollywood's like notorious for aging out actresses. Faye Dunaway being one of them. Like we never got a chance to see like a really good like 40 and 50-year-old Faye Dunaway like in the spotlight. You know what I mean? Like they aged her out the way I mean, she was fucking Mommy Dearest, man. Like she was so good as Joan Collins in Mommy Dearest. Like so good. She was she's still like a good-looking woman now. Yeah. Like she hasn't changed that much, but she just got put in shit. Like
that's the fucked up thing, because it's like the only real like an actress who's respected now as an older actress was like Helen Mirren, and that was because she was just like a party hot chick during that 70s time, where it was like she was in Caligula and a bunch of movies where it was just like, we need a hot chick to be topless in this movie. And then she got older, and then it was like, we need a hot chick to be topless in this movie. But now she had gravitas like to it, and then she got like respectable roles.
Got to them titties.
Not for Helen Mirren. Have you seen this lady? Like she's still a smoke show. She's still.
Yeah, but so is all those ladies in Grumpy and Grumpier Old Men. You know what I mean? Like Sophia Loren and stuff like that. Like
that's what's fucked up. It's like, it's like we're like gushing about Jack Nicholson, even though he's like looking at him now. I mean, even in this movie, even though I think he's handsome in the movie, he's like losing his hair. And he's like,
he looks like a Muppet now.
Yeah, he looks crazy, but he could still be like, I'm gonna fuck a a 28-year-old in a movie right now if I was still acting. And then everyone has to be, it's like a Oscar, like a brave performance for like a 42-year-old woman to be in a movie where she's considered sexy. Like I remember when Unfaithful came out and they were all about like how Diane Lane is like this is bold. And I'm like, you mean that hot lady who's in this movie? Like everyone's like, can you believe
mean Sherry Valiance from The Outsiders?
Yeah. Like, well, I don't even remember how old she was. I would think she was like 37 and everyone's
in
like
The Outsiders.
No. She aged fantastically.
So good. Yeah, but even her, they disappeared her again after Unfaithful. Mm-hmm. They fucking squeezed what they could out of her for that 1 year. Everyone said, yo, Diane Lane's still fucking hot. Everyone's like, what, for real? All right, get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy because Faye Dunaway is so fucking good in this movie. She captures like that good. Audrey Hepburn or that Katharine Hepburn fucking energy in 1974. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, she was so good, like so good in Bonnie and Clyde. Like she was fucking like so good in Mommy Dearest. Like she was fucking
she's a great incredible. Actress. And she's selling stuff in this movie. Like her hiding what she's hiding in the movie and selling it in this way of like
we gotta talk about something for a second.
Oh please, yeah.
Jack Nicholson slaps the shit out of this woman several times. Like
he just
several.
He goes so wild and slapping
like, my
her.
Sister, my daughter, my sister, my daughter, my sister. It's just like, goddamn. Like he's just slapping the lies out of her, and then she's like, no, it's both, and you're like, oh.
I've seen like that be in like Looney Tunes. Like things and stuff, and
thanks, I needed that. Like,
but not even that, but like that whole sequence of like where it's like they repeat like it's this, it's that, it's this. I'm like, I've watched cartoons where they do that. I'm like, that's a reference to this. Holy shit! It's like these kids' cartoons are referencing the moment where this woman has to admit that she was raped and impregnated by her father. And that's
it's so nuts. It's so nuts that Jack Nicholson is just slapping the shit out of a lady. Like it's like he's just fucking take it easy, guy. Like,
and it's like it wasn't even like he questioned to do it. He was just like, I gotta slap a dame, and just like slap.
Here we go again.
Every week I gotta slap this broad.
Fucking Chinatown.
But that is so crazy that happens, and then she explains that situation, and it makes things even crazier that like here's this movie that's been pretty like self-explanatory and would make sense of like, okay, the regular espionage, like not espionage, but the regular like lies that people would be telling and all this other shit, and then you just drop this like, oh yeah, this billionaire dude has been raping his daughter and then got her pregnant.
At least the one time. And it's not once. But it's like, this happened. And then go back for a second.
And it's like, this is a subplot. I know.
Papa's got to get his biscuits. I hate myself as much as you guys do right now, just so we know. Just so we're cool, America. Or whoever's watching us in Sweden weekly. I don't understand that.
Just treating like these shitty people are treating their assaults like when they're like eating a cookie, like I'll just take a piece to see if I like it. And now I'm like, well, I gotta get another.
Second on the lips, forever on my hips. You know what I'm saying?
Just fucking scumbags. But
my god, it's so crazy.
I think it's crazy that that's a subplot to this movie about like that's mainly about land rights.
Like, I can't believe it hasn't been right. Fucking, it goes quite quickly from cheating to like a town hall meeting, which even in a movie is so boring. Like just like a town hall meeting with angry people. So it's about land, and then it's about murder, and then it's about rape and incest. Like, it's just like whoa.
Yeah, like, huh? Wait,
You skipped so many stages of stuff.
This movie's also trippy because, like, the town hall meeting, there's just all of a sudden a bunch of lamb or goats are in the town hall.
And people aren't that weirded out about it.
They're just like, God damn it, another time. Like,
stop bringing your goats in here, Mr. Hurdleburgle.
And he's like, I would put them somewhere if you hadn't took my lamb.
Now I got no water.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, that makes sense. But it's wild that that's just like that's the cherry on top of this. Like the real story is that someone's hiding water, but also this guy raped his daughter, and now she's hiding the daughter that he's trying to get. And it's
it turns out the husband wasn't even fucking her in the first place.
No, yeah, he was just
like comforting her.
But getting back to Faye Dunaway, like where it's like her character, because she's having to sell this like, I have to lie about saying that I'm cheating on my husband, or I was doing this or this, so you don't find out one of the worst things in the world is happening to me.
She's like, oh yeah, my husband was cheating on me, but that's okay. I knew about it. I was cheating on him too. Just to not be like, no, he was hanging out with my sister daughter. Making sure she was doing okay.
It's so fucked up. It's
crazy. Like I can't believe that wasn't spoiled to me at this point. Like my whole life, I've always heard about how good Chinatown was. Never watched it. No one ever said this movie's so good. This dude fucks his daughter. Like no one ever spoiled that shit. To anyone that hasn't seen this movie yet, sorry, you got this far. You fucked up.
Yeah, here's the fucked up thing. I knew there was incest in this movie.
I didn't.
I knew.
I should have figured. This is incest and everything else I watch.
But I didn't know how it played into things, because it was this thing of like, okay, I know that this is this. I know that this exists in this movie, but I don't know where it comes in and what it means to the story. And when seeing it, I'm like, oh my God, that's even wilder, because it's like he wrote this movie and it's great. And it's like, but it's also this kind of shocking random thing that isn't, that almost, it's wild that it's part of all the bad shit that still has to happen.
Like, I wonder if it surprised him as a writer. Like while he was writing the movie, you know what I mean? What the fuck's his name? He won the Oscar.
Robert Towne.
Yeah, Robert Towne. Like, I wonder, because you know how sometimes like if you're like writing a joke or something, the punchline even like surprises you. You're like, oh shit, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I wonder if while he was writing this movie, he was like, oh my God, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Or if he started with that, worked out.
I don't know. He's like,
all right, so a guy gets his daughter pregnant. Back up.
What kind
Water
of guy
rights.
is he? They're like, so when he's talking to his friend, he's explaining, he's like, so I got this script. It's about a dude who fucked his daughter. Holy shit, Robert. No. You got to understand.
It's
water rights.
Water rights. You know, one
like,
thing leads to another.
Like,
cuts his nose off.
This movie is so well written, and it's so like there's a lot of like humorous parts, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, like it's voted as what it's like known as like one of the greatest screenplays of all time. It's like it's been like put on lists as one of the greatest screenplays of all time. I'm honest to God, I'm mad at myself for not seeing this movie sooner. Like,
I am too, but also I understand why. Because I've always wanted to watch it, but I will say this: you have to be in a mood to watch it, because like. When I was watching, I started it and I watched the first 20 minutes and I was like, I'm not in the right zone to watch this. So I watched it the next day when I was like, I'm good. I have nothing else to do. I have nothing else I'm really trying to do. And I'm not distracted. And I really got to enjoy it because there's so much. It's so dense in a lot of ways. And it's also, again, on
it's a
paper.
Film. Like
it's a film.
Like the difference between film and movies, you know what I mean? Like Bloodsport was a movie.
Yeah.
This is a fucking film. Like this movie was well shot, it was well acted, it was well written, the lighting was good, the fucking everything. Like this movie was, honest to God, I think it may have been like a near flawless fucking like movie as far as like the aspects of it.
For sure.
So perfect.
The script, especially because there's a part near the end of the movie where the movie starts off with him helping his client. This client where he finds out his wife has been cheating on him.
Uncle
like,
Paulie.
right?
Uncle Paulie himself from Rocky, robot husband.
And I know, happy birthday, Paulie.
She loves me.
Yeah.
I wish I could be you, Rock. I could be someone else. I'd be you.
What's crazy about this character is he comes back later in the movie where like Jake is trying to trick the cops so he can get to Chinatown. And he goes to that guy's house and his wife opens the door and she has...
Okay, hold on. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Because what happens is in the beginning of the movie, he finds out that this guy's wife is getting fucked by another dude. Like he tells him his wife is cheating on him and it fucks him up. You can tell it breaks his heart. It's Burt Young. He's always good in shit. Like he's always good in shit. We talked about this movie last week. He was the limo driver in Back to School where I saw my first titties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's all about them first ones. It's the center of the universe right there. But he's got to tell him his wife is fucking cheating on him. So he walks out of his office, distraught, upset, heartbroken man. Go ahead.
Comes to this guy's house, opens the door. His wife, the biggest black eye you've ever seen, just...
Jack Nicholson just looks at her, assesses it, and he's like, yep, all right.
He's like, that's exactly what happened.
They worked it out.
Jack Nicholson is so about like, I need to get out of this. Like,
she must have been lying about some shit.
Oh, shit. Like, and you have these, and it's not said at all. You just see her face. You see Jack Nicholson's face is like, like he's kind of like, oh boy. But
he can't even feel bad. He just got done slapping the shit out of Faye Dunaway for not fucking another guy. Like,
although technically, because she was fucked by another.
Yeah, years ago.
Years ago.
I gotta bring up old
shit. Past relationships.
But I feel like they even looked at us, the viewer, and was like, glad they worked it out. And we're like, as a watcher, I'm like, all right. And I'm like, no, not all right. Like,
because you can see Paul because the whole family is there. Like, literally, other adults and kids are all at the table enjoying this meal, and Paulie, he's literally like, nothing is weird. He's like, hey, that's my friend. He's like,
the guy that helped us out with that thing. You know the reason why your face hurts when you shut it, like.
Literally, he's
the reason why you can't sleep on your normal side.
He's so enthusiastic about. He's
sit
like,
down, have some biscuits.
Like, this is my buddy Jake. Get yourself a plate. Come on, honey. This is the guy I was telling you about.
Remember the guy that watched you fuck in a field?
Found you fucking in a field, and then he gave me the photos, and I couldn't afford them because holy shit, he couldn't afford those.
No, not as just a cab driver or whatever the fuck he was.
And then like, oh my god, and then it's just but he's just nonchalant, just like, we're having dinner. I beat my wife. It's the 30s. I can do. It's not weird.
Anyways, let me do you a favor.
Yeah. Oh, you need a ride? Of course. You saved my marriage. Honestly.
This guy's the marriage counselor. Well, that and my old right cross.
Zimbow boom.
To the moon, Alice, but Alice really got it this time.
Really, it's so, and I love that it is such a fucked up but subtle thing that happens. Like this movie
we both picked up on it. I'm glad you brought that thing, because I wanted, when I watched it, I'm like, ooh, I'm talking about that.
Because there are so many like fucking funny, subtle, weird things that happen in this movie.
Clayton.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny.
In the guys?
I thought it was hilarious that this poor woman was battered. No, but I
What
just
color toast is your favorite black eye on a girl? What do you?
just oh god. See, normally we could just cut this out because but now our faces are on the screen,
No.
so you can see.
We're not
us.
cutting out shit. I'm owning it.
But there's so many like subtle things that speak to the time period where like at the barber when he's getting shaved and he's like really pissed off at the guy, and then his barber is like trying to pull him away and like, listen, calm down, Jake, I got this real fun racist joke to tell you. I'm telling like Jake, you gotta stop being mad at the guy about your job. You gotta hear this racist joke I gotta tell you. So anyway, China man. I was like, oh no, like, oh no,
Here we go.
and I love that he thought the joke was so funny that he's like telling it to his like team. And he's just like, so you gotta let me. God damn it, you never let me finish a joke. So anyway, he's screwing he's screwing his wife, and she's like, why are you screwing me like a Chinaman? Like he's like, his face fills up, and he has like 2 scenes like that in the movie. He has that. And then when they're at the old folks home and he's like really like getting, and then that it's a fucking well-made movie. Like,
Yeah. That being said, Roman Polanski's a piece of shit.
Roman Polanski's. So, all right, I'm glad you brought this back because I was thinking about that. It's like,
because that is a shadow. Like, I took it off for the movie, but it's there the whole time, really.
it comes up even more when you find out why she's hiding that woman. It's like, yeah, Roman also raped a child, and he did, and he's like, not yet, but he's like, not yet, but
he's cooking something up.
Which is even crazier because it's like you've had like this last 5 years, you were like, you know what? My wife's dead. My baby's dead. I need to be the
like, was
worst.
she 8.5 months pregnant? Like,
yeah, like it's weird that he would lead. Like, it was like so quickly he would do this, which is like, also, was he this guy back then too? Like,
I don't know.
And that's
like, did that fuck him up? Did he just stop giving a shit about anything when his wife and unborn child were murdered? Like, did he just say, you know what, fuck it, who cares anymore? Nothing's worth it. Like, it doesn't matter. No matter how hard you do, no matter how good of a person you are, someone's going to murder your wife.
And
so I might as well just fuck kids.
And I want everyone to know that we're not saying this as like this is not validating his actions of like, well, this is his mindset. It doesn't matter
what happens to you.
Like, he was a piece of shit. Like, don't be a piece of shit. Like, I'm just like, don't be a piece of shit, people. But at the same time, it's like, he did make this. This movie doesn't exalt him or like.
No, not at all. He made really good, dude. Like, he made really good movies. That doesn't change anything he did. The same thing, like fucking Harvey Weinstein. His production company made really good movies. Yeah. Bill Cosby wrote really good fucking jokes. Like, there's no, but it gets to a certain point, like with Roman Polanski, with Harvey Weinstein, with Bill Cosby. Who gives a shit? Right. Speaking of which, our movie next week is Leonard Part 6. You guys, we're just going to keep it.
It would work. I've never seen Leonard Part 6. So
it's really bad. Like, apparently this season is movies we haven't seen that have been directed by a rapist. Like, it's a fun thing.
I wish we had never seen Powder, because that would be another one.
Was Powder directed by a rapist?
Yeah, because he also directed Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, it's that fucking guy?
Yeah.
He was a fucking disgusting piece of shit, too.
I know. What a time.
And Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah. Fuck Sean Patrick Flannery. You bad, awful Irish accent in the Boondock Saints. Fuck you.
Fucking rope.
It's so funny now because we've had 2 back-to-back creeps, and I'm like, it's making me miss the days when Troy Duffy's weird racist stealing Quentin Tarantino.
Is everyone just a piece of shit? Do you have to be a piece of shit to get famous?
You have to be a piece of shit to make a movie we didn't see that everyone else has. Like, I feel like I kind of feel. I mean, like I don't know if like Ivan Reitman was a piece of shit. I think he kind of was, but not
he couldn't have been.
I mean, he was like a conservative, surprisingly, which is
I don't believe anyone's not a piece of shit anymore. Like it's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think just all of Hollywood is just garbage people, and I'm glad I haven't gotten famous.
Oh yeah, that's the real thing where everyone says that's always been a conspiracy when like any black person gets famous is that a bunch of other people says that they sold their soul to like the Illuminati, and I'm like, clearly black people aren't doing that because they're still not doing well enough. I'm like, but white people maybe. Like like I don't know. Like
it's possible.
It's possible, but there's just a lot of like there's too much assault. There's too much assault baked into this shit.
Yeah, I think misogyny plays a big part in how awful Hollywood is. Like,
for sure. Like
not being able to see women as people, that tends to be an issue.
Yeah,
an ongoing issue in the world we live in right now.
Yeah, it's
and we might love your titties, but we love your soul too, ladies.
Yeah, like as silly as
like, we
get
talk a lot of
it,
shit. We talk a lot of shit, but like we acknowledge. Like I hate, like I hate Roman Polanski. You know what I mean? I hate all of this shit that we have to like deal with and like look the other way on for so long and.
I hate.
I'm trying to say something poignant, but I'm too stupid to say anything poignant.
No, I know it is because it's the biggest problem, and this has been kind of popping up lately with this season, because unlike last season where we were like going back and like realizing like how we felt about movies through our lens now, there's so much embedded wrong involved in some of these classic like movies where
even still with movies that were made 3 years ago.
Right. Exactly. But it's so insane to me that it's like fucking Roman Polanski is still making movies.
Yeah. You know who didn't rape anybody? The guy that made Savage Beach.
Yeah.
That guy made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Andy Sedaris didn't assault anybody. He was like, I respect the creeps, like the creeps who get the movie out, like where it's like, let me get my weirdness out on the screen. Like I want titties, I want like people like broads getting naked on an airplane.
Yeah, but you treat them with respect.
Yeah, but you treat them with respect. They're honoring you by showing their titties on my movie.
We should appreciate every square inch of titty on that screen.
Treat them like human beings, God damn it. They're artists. That's the funny thing. It's like this is like Oscar winning, beautiful. Like everything is perfect.
It's a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. I can't not say that because that would be taking it away from Robert Towne. That would be taking it away from Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. By saying it's not a perfect movie, it really is. And like the guy that made the movie, he didn't do anything fucked up until like 79. You know what I mean? So like he was fine then. Maybe he didn't snap yet. Maybe in 1978 he was like everything's fine. And in 1979 he was like, wait, how old are you?
Yeah, he's like, oh, what's going on? Like
I don't know. Like it sucks. It sucks that has to be like. I would rather just talk about this movie and then be like, "Yo, let's watch another Roman Polanski." You know what I mean? I wish there wasn't this gigantic fucking like because it's not like I can separate art from artist, but I'm not gonna like fucking celebrate the artist. I can respect what he did as an artist in this movie as a filmmaker, but I can't like fucking. I'm not even gonna celebrate his art that much because at least Woody Allen sucked.
Right?
Like the movie sucked. You know what I mean? Like it's actually would have been easier if Chinatown sucks. Yeah.
It's like that when they were like, all right, this piece of shit but he didn't bring it onto the film. And like, now I'm like, but I'm so happy that we saw this because
it's maybe the best movie. I don't know. This might be the best movie, in my opinion, for me that I've watched since doing this podcast. Like that I haven't seen already. Because I loved The Third Man. I mean, I love noir anyway. So like when we saw The Third Man, that I had never seen that before. So that was made in 1940 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was, which is also cool to think.
It's a noir movie, and it was shot really cool.
Yeah, and that was like of that, and him capturing that element of like this is this type of the style of. I
mean, I love LA Confidential. I love, you know what I mean. Like I love noir. I love like private detective. Like and there she was, walked into the room.
Yeah, that's all.
My life was normal up until that moment. I heard them stilettos clicking through the hallway, and nothing was the same.
Right, but when I found out that it was like a Roger Rabbit like the sequel was, it was like, yeah, of course, like Roger Rabbit legit is Chinatown. So down to like when you see them like looking through the photos of them playing patty cake, and it's like. And like down to like how many, like I thought because the movie begins on the photos of Paulie's wife cheating on him, and he's just like flipping through position after position. I was just
they're having some good fucking for 1937. Like,
they're really going out. It's like, you know what?
A lot of pubes though. A lot of pubes. You got to imagine a lot of pubes going on there.
They were on a grassy
front to
hill.
back. There was a lot of like little bits of flower and stuff like that. There were flowers and grass clippings in there, and maybe the gopher from Caddyshack. I don't know. Like things are going on.
Like every time someone had sex back then, all of a sudden you'd hear,
"I'm all right." Just Kenny Loggins. I'm up.
It's my turn. Oh,
all right.
But yeah, this was great. I'm so glad we watched this.
Yeah, no, this is a great movie. I'm glad I watched it. It was great. Like I loved it. I'm psyched that it was in there. Now I'm like, this is like, we've watched a couple of stinkers in a row again. We always do that to ourselves. We get like a couple of good movies and then we watch a couple of stinkers. And now I want the next movie we watch, I want it to be still a surprise until next week, you guys. But I just want like to watch another good movie. I want to be like excited about watching movies. So I'm just gonna pretend I've never seen The Empire Strikes Back, and then we're gonna pick that. This was like a really good surprise. It wasn't even a surprise, but it's a surprise in that like there's so many things that have so much hype to them and so much like back lore to them that you're like, okay, will this really be good? And then when you see a movie that's like, no, there's a reason why this is talked about so much. It's not just because like film school people loved it. It's like, no, it was a solidly made movie. So yeah, no, this movie is enjoyable. And fuck Roman Polanski, and I hope he's currently being raped by a goat.
Fuck you, Roman. We hate you.
Yeah, I hope bad things are happening to you in France right now, you pussy. Come home and just fucking do your time.
Yeah. And then have that
cool if he listens to this and this is what brought him home. So there I was. It was with his little dumb fucking Polish accent, just like, so there I was, and I was listening to it, and then I decided to come home because of Clay and the Rick. Maybe it's possible I've never really heard him speak, but that's how
like we heard him speak in the movie and he's like kind of talking and it's like, but I would love to like, Roman, what brought you here? And he's like, nobody watches everything. And they're like, what a cryptic thing to say.
You and I'll know though, and we'll give each other a knowing look from across the room at the black eye of society that we helped fucking create.
Now I want some criminal to mention our podcast and everyone think it's like, is this some form of like symbolic, like New World Order type of chant? Nobody watches everything. Are you talking about everything. Big Brother? Like, is that what you mean?
Who are they signaling?
No, I really like this podcast from two guys from Buffalo.
Just fucking... We did it. We're starting to change the world. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that other guy home too.
All right. But yeah, thank you.
You guys check out the YouTube.
Yes.
It's up and running. Nobody watches everything. YouTube, subscribe and sign up for updates and alerts and like and share and subscribe and review and comment and all that good stuff. Check us out. Nobody Watches Everything on Instagram. Send us an email. If you guys have a movie that you want us to watch, you think maybe we haven't seen yet, just throw it out there. Give us an email about it. Give us a suggestion on Instagram. Send us a message. Send us a DM. We reply to this shit ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe it's usually Jen, but it's usually us too. Like
Yeah.
We'll communicate with y'all though. Like we'll talk to you. Like
We love you. We want to know more about stuff because also
give us ideas. You guys have sometimes,
you guys have ideas for movies that we would have never have seen. Like
sometimes Clay and I sit and talk to each other on the phone and be like, what the fuck are we gonna watch next? Like
yeah. I'm so excited.
Help us out with that. Maybe we haven't seen it before and we'll be like, fuck, we will watch that.
Hell yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for talking to us and not talking to us. What the fuck am I saying? You didn't talk to us.
They might be yelling at their car right now, like, shut the fuck up.
While watching the video.
You guys don't watch this video in the car.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
Stupid.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. But thank you so much. We love you and bye.